Brian, congratulations on the win. Heavily rotated lineup. What does this say about your depth in terms of going forward?
Well, I mean, that's a softball of a question because I've talked about it all year. This has to be one of the deepest squads that we've had at this franchise since I've been here, and that's no disrespect to Garth, because Garth was a good GM, and Ziggy and Adrian in the beginning kind of took care of that job. But we've got depth, but I'm also going to, kind of tweak your question a little bit, because that team knows how to play. Those players that don't get consistent minutes understand what we want to accomplish. And I'll give you Cody Baker as an example. Last time he played and started in this building, we beat Montreal like 5-1 or 5, something like that. That was the last time he started. He hasn't had a ton of playing time. But because he works hard in training every day, he absolutely was ready for this. Okay, we switched Reed over to the other side. And the kid, had some struggles in the first half, but he figured it out because we're putting a lot of time into Reed. Reed's a top prospect. And so we're happy to have him, and Andy's done a great job of kind of, making sure that Reed understands the demands of being a pro and being good in his position. So that's a success story. You got Snyder Brunel. I mean, look, Preki is a great coach. He's got the way we want to play 3-2, and then we rotate up, and guys are coming in, and we do both groups in training. I mean, we play pretty entertaining soccer. We've scored a lot of goals, and that was our Achilles heel last year, and we've made some corrections starting in preseason, messaging, training, the way we train them. We raised the standard in our trainings, leading into the World Cup, coming out of the World Cup. Did that bear fruit? You bet your ass it did. And I'm so proud of those guys right there. I mean, Danny Leyva, 3 assists, and I'm going to credit him with 4 because he actually made the penalty, so that's another assist, so there's 4. Masowski may not be out of my doghouse yet, but he had a good performance, okay? So that was a game that we needed. We couldn't drop points because the West is so tight. We needed this home game, and those guys delivered. Those players in that room, that is a strong collective. So I'm super proud of them, super proud.
All right, Maz, down to you.
Brian, I'll just stay with Georgie. Just can you, keeping with your theme as well, can you just talk about his growth and where he is now, how he's seeing the game, and what he's done with his toolbox at different plays, and also his defense?
Well, the defense is a non-negotiable, and he did a good job tonight. In some parts of the second half, he and Cody, there was going to be some breakdowns. I get it. I understand that. But he puts the work in. He's got some challenges. He's got some challenges with his vision, but whether I play him on the right, whether I play him on the left, he's still explosive. I mean, he might be the best athlete in MLS over the first 10, 12 yards. He's got that explosive, fitness. So credit to the kid, good performance tonight. The start, I know he's been asking for more minutes, and, those types of performances make my job a little harder.
Congrats on the win, Brian. Obviously, you get the 5 goals after a couple of frustrating games in front of goal.
I got that.
And talk about kind of the pace and intentionality of this game. That was something you talked about during the Puebla game.
Well, we try that every game. We try that every game. Every game is the same. And the 2 teams that, bunkered in against us prevented us from doing that. We have an identity. We know what we want to do. We know how we want to play. It's just sometimes it doesn't always happen. And in this particular game, because the way Kansas City set up and the way that, the game played out with the timeliness again of the goals, we came out on top.
Other questions? Go over here.
Hi, Coach. Lionel, the Qual Podcast. from Venezuela. I'm curious about, you studied 5 players under 23. What's the message for them? You take them apart and talk to them, or is a group message that you give?
For the young players?
Yeah, 5 under 23.
Well, it's some individual. Obviously, it's in a collective as well. To get a little more clarity, because you might be new here. When we train the entire team, we don't just train the starting 11 for a particular game. We always start with the second group first, and then the first team, and we make sure that everyone on the team understands the tactics for that particular game. And so the young players understand when they're put into the game what we want, what the expectations are. And I think it helps, and it shows when you put a bunch of young kids. Now, what I would tell you is our team, as of late, and I mean maybe not the team, the organization as of late, has done a good job of developing young players. We picked Danny Leyva up when he was 15, Obed was 15, Snyder Brunell has been in our academy. Those are 3 really good midfielders that we have on our team, and that's credit to the organization. And, people make a big deal about signing, not signing. Well, Snyder Brunell is going to be a star in this league. Osaze has good starting points. I mean, the kid maybe should have scored, but, he's a handful. And we're going to need to lean on him in the next game on Wednesday, but he's ready. And that's credit to the organization and the coaching staff.
All right, we'll swing back down here. Jeremiah, I saw you first, then we'll go over to Maz.
You kind of alluded to this earlier when you were talking about how you guys were struggling to score last year. This year has not been the case, but the games have also just been more wide open, which seems to go a little bit against your type, your normal way of playing. We asked Craig about that earlier today, and he was saying how sometimes he's a little uncomfortable with how open games can be, but it's fun. How has it been this year for you, just sort of allowing the games to be a little bit more open and high scoring?
I've never been an anchor to guys scoring goals. We've always tried to coach attacking soccer. We re-emphasize certain things. We tweaked a couple of things, but we've always done a good job with what we have to try and score goals. I don't think that's ever been, I know people label me as a defensive-minded coach, but that's not by design. Yes, I expect everyone to defend, and maybe that's the message you guys hear and think I'm a defensive coach, but defending starts up top. Okay, it's a team game. It's not, it's not 2 guys up here and 4 guys back here and a couple guys sprinkled in the middle. The expectations are there because that's how you win championships. Because you win championships by, again, defending well, keeping clean sheets, but then you also need the team to believe they can score. You need individuals like Masaski to believe that he can score, because he's having a banner year. And just guess what's going to happen. Performances like that are going to push Albert and Jordan and Kent and Pedro when he comes back on the field and Rothrock. It's going to push the whole group. When you get guys like that playing at that level, the whole group is going to rise up, and that's going to happen.
Maz.
Going back to your coaching staff, can you just talk about their ability to not only create a system, but create a specific system for the players to thrive, given their individual talents?
Well, that's the coach's job, Maz, is to put players in the positions so they can best succeed. It's giving them confidence. It's giving them tactical instruction. It's giving them reality checks. The mentality of this group is very strong. Tough times don't last, tough people do. That kind of messaging has always been there. And so I think as a collective, the coaching staff, the players, they buy into it. It's going to give us success more often than not.
I want to ask about Kalani. You started him a little further up the formation than we're used to seeing on the right side. What do you think of his performance, and will we be seeing him further up that formation more in the future?
Maybe, because the kid makes plays. But wherever he starts on the field, he's got a nose for the goal. He can play in the pocket. He had a strong performance. That first goal, again, from a tactical perspective, from the build-up perspective, from a tactical perspective, from an actual application of the technical things, that was a great goal.
Miss anybody? Great, thanks all. Locker room's
Thanks,
open.
everybody.